So, good evening, everyone. My name is Maurya Hanspal, and in this session, we will continue our previous sessions on understanding the concept and ideologies of blockchain and the cryptocurrency. So, in the previous session, we started our discussion on the blockchain and the cryptocurrencies, and we tried to discover and understand the various facts related to the concepts of the world of the cryptocurrencies and blockchains, and we also tried to understand the Web 3.0 as well because a large number of students starts asking the difference between the Web 1.0 versus the Web 2.0 versus the Web 3.0. So all these three scenarios we try to understand. So I'll sum up in very brief for you. So when we talk about the Web 1.0, so Web 1.0 was something that was just one-sided only, or like one-way interaction was there. Like for example, you browse through the internet to find a particular article, but on that article you cannot comment, you cannot like that article, you cannot share or post that article. It is just visible on a particular screen which shows a one-way interaction. Then we try to understand the Web 2.0. In the case of the Web 2.0, there was a two-way interaction. Like for example, if someone is posting it on a platform, then you can comment on that platform, you can like that platform and present your views and share that content also. And that was the era of your meta. Like within that, your Instagram, WhatsApp, and various other platforms. And now you have the Web 3.0. So basically, this Web 3.0 is the advanced version of the Web 1.0 and Web 2.0, which involves your machine learning, artificial intelligence, and business intelligence, and the concepts of the blockchain and the cryptocurrencies, which makes it a more than two-way interaction because there is no centralized system, like no governing authority, and all the transactions can be facilitated in an easy manner without any blockage or intermediaries or anyone, as we have in the case of the usual currencies or the coins which are printed by the RBI or the Ministry of Finance. Okay, then we try to talk about the biggest confusion which people have, the difference between the blockchain and the cryptocurrency. And we got to know that whenever we talk about the blockchain and the cryptocurrency, blockchain is just a platform on which the cryptocurrency works. Now, the cryptocurrency can work in terms of buying and selling the cryptocurrencies or smart contracts. What exactly is a smart contract we talked in the previous session? Or any kind of transactions on the blockchain network. So blockchain is just a platform. Like for example, Instagram, Meta, or WhatsApp is just your platform on which the people post their things, or they like, they comment, and view and share. Similarly, blockchain is a platform on which the cryptocurrencies or digital assets transactions are undertaken. Then we talked about the differences between the cryptocurrency and a token. So cryptocurrency is again a digital asset. It is a legal tender in case of just one country that we talked about, El Salvador in Central America. But still, a large number of concerns are going on because ultimately, when someone is accepting such a digital asset which has no centralization as its as its main currency or like legal tender, it can harm the country as well because ultimately there is no mechanism or no central party involved. And these kinds of things can be used for some terrorism funding, some black marketing, some illegal corruption, and all those scenarios also. Then, talking about the cryptocurrency and tokens. So, cryptocurrency is a digital asset or a currency as per some countries, which has its own blockchain, whereas token is something which does not have its own blockchain. Then we try to understand the different kinds of cryptocurrencies. We talked about Bitcoin, Ether, Tether, Solana, Ripple, Litecoin, and all these scenarios. And we also try to understand the difference between Ethereum and Ether. Ethereum is the platform, the blockchain network, and Ether is your cryptocurrency. Then we also talked about the differences between the stable coins and shit coins. The stable coins are pegged against a stable currency. Like for example, USBT, which is a Bitcoin pegged against the US dollar. If the value of the US dollar is rising, the Bitcoin value will also rise, and vice versa. If the value of the US dollar is falling, the value of the Bitcoin will also fall. Then we talked about the shit coins, which are the meme coins, like Shiba Inu and your Dogecoin, which had no fundamentals and were just created to mock the cryptocurrency market or the blockchain world. Okay, then we also talked about the initial coin offer. It is just the same as an IPO in case of a share initial public offering, and NFO in terms of a mutual fund, the new fund offer. If a company is coming up with a new coin, the company will be coming up with an initial coin offer, or the other scenario can be if the company wants to raise some money for the purpose of creating a coin or like for some new kinds of network, then these kinds of things can also come up in the market. Okay, so this is all like we tried to talk about in the session. After that, we talked about the concept of blockchain, how the blockchain really works, having different blocks connected through a link, and how to create the hash function. That the previous hash function must match with the new hash function, basically. So all these things we tried to understand. We talked about the mining. The miners, the persons who are validating the transactions between two blocks are called miners, and the process is called mining. Then we talked about some of the most important terms in the field of blockchain and the cryptocurrency. We talked about the public ledger and decentralized system. So why it's a decentralized system? Because ultimately there is no governing authority for all this network. The central bank or the government systems are not involved in validating the transactions or overseeing or viewing these transactions. So ultimately people are involved into these transactions and they're just involved into like fulfilling their expectations. That's it. And why a public ledger? Because everyone is involved into this system and everyone can view the transactions from one person to another. Why it's a peer-to-peer network? Because ultimately when someone is entering into a smart contract or like someone is entering into the contract of buying and selling the cryptocurrency, one peer is exchanging his cryptocurrency or token from the other peers. And similarly, the chain goes on in the form of the blocks in which the transactions are stored. And that is what is called a peer-to-peer network. Then we talked about the cryptography. So cryptography is nothing but converting your decrypted message into an encrypted message or like plain text into a cipher text, as basically the process of creating the hash functions in simple terms. Then we talked about the consensus algorithm. So consensus algorithm is something like, for example, if a transaction has to be validated between two blocks, all the 10-20 people who are involved into the mining process, like between the two blocks, have to come to a consensus. Even if the one person does not agree, the transaction cannot be validated. Then as a result of validating the transactions, these people get a reward as a proof of work. And the proof of work or the POW is nothing but they prove that they are doing it. And for that, they got a reward. That is the reward system. And they get the reward in terms of Bitcoin. And the value of the Bitcoin reward gets halved every 4 years. It started with 25, it came to 12.5, 6.25. It's currently at 6.25. And the next 2 or 3 years after, like it will become 3.125 and then 1.732. Okay. But the main problem with the proof of work was, like for example, if 20 miners are validating the transactions between one block and second block, it can happen that the 19 validators are the strong validators, strong miners, and they have high computing power, high electricity, money, and bitcoins with them. So they can exert a significant influence over the other last person, the 20th person, who does not have power, who does not have electricity power, who does not have strong computing systems, less money, and less bitcoin. So that person can be influenced by those 19 people because they have the power, electricity, and all those stuff. And some tampering can happen in the blockchain. So to avoid that, they came with the concept of the proof of stake. So in the proof of stake, the amount of coins, the Bitcoin would be staked, and the amount of coins staked would be more than the amount of the transactions being validated. In that case, the person's money would be at stake and twice the money as compared to the um amount of transactions being validated. So in that case, what will happen? The person would not commit any fraud in that case. And then a new concept of the proof of history came into place, and it was particularly for like one cryptocurrency called Solana. So basically, all the previous transactions are kept as record in case of the Solana. Okay. Then we try to understand the uses of the blockchain, because ultimately people think that the blockchain is used only in terms of the cryptocurrency and nothing else. And that is the biggest stigma or the stereotype which people are facing in the current generation or the previous generation or the new people who are like learn about the blockchain. So the network of the blockchain can be used for a large number of applications, like for example, for the purpose of education as well, because a large number of forgery and the manipulation is being done in the mark sheet of the people. People tend to change the name of the topper of the classroom or the topper of that particular certification and mark their own name. And this also happens in case of the top certifications and programs like MBA, your CFA, your FRM, your CA, CMA, CS. So all these things also happen in that scenario. So if your education certificate, your degree or mark sheet is stored in a blockchain network in the servers of that college or university or that degree college, no one can manipulate that. And if anyone tries to manipulate that, again, that hash function will be different and people will get to know that the chain has been hampered or this particular document has been hampered. Now it can be used for the voting also. I gave you an example of a state called Sierra Leone in Africa, which use the voting system. So ultimately, in this case, again, as in the case of a normal one, you have a public key and a private key. The public key is the username in your email address, and the private key is your password. Similarly, in the case of blockchain, also the private key is your wallet password, and your public key is your username. And it won't be by your name. It would be again an algorithm or something as a coding language. So ultimately, people cannot get to know that who is trading. In similar cases, people also cannot get to know that who is voting. And if anyone tries to hamper the chain, it will be known that the hash function is changed and the chain has been tampered. It means the votes have been played with. Then again, for the foreign fund transfer, if someone is transferring money from one country to another, the person has to go through the banking procedure, and it might take like 24 hours to like 48 hours in some scenarios. Like when I talk about India, like you have a liberalized remittance scheme, the LRS, which allows you to transfer $250,000 up to max from like one country to another. But in the case of the cryptocurrency or the blockchain network, if you are doing it, the amount can be transferred immediately without any hassles of the bank, and even there is no limit on the amount to be transferred. And the payment system is just similarly smart contracts, as I told you. It is just like an escrow account in which all your money and the goods that a person has to supply to you against that money are like stored into. And once the transactions are validated, it is known that the person has sufficient money and he also has the goods, then the transaction is done. And for crowdfunding also, that is basically to get the money like from the people for a subsequent project. Then we try to understand the alternate coins, altcoins. And why these altcoins are came into place, the alternate coins, because each of the new coins that comes into place, it's an improvement version over the previous coins. Like particularly when I talk about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is something which has an limited supply of 21 million only. That is 2 crore 10 lakhs only. Out of which 1 crore 90 lakhs, that is 19 million, have been mined. So if something is scarce, the value of that commodity is also very high, as in case of gold and diamond. Okay, so basically Bitcoin, it used to take 10 minutes to validate a transaction, whereas Ethereum that came afterwards, it just took 25 seconds. Then Ripple was an improved version over everyone that used to take just 4 seconds, and Litecoin with 2.5 seconds. And after that, all the coins that are coming into this blockchain network are taking just 1 second or less than 1 second to mine their transactions. This is how advanced and complex the system has become. The Dogecoin has come, Shiba Inu, your Polygon Matic coin for India, your Pi Network, and Tether coin. So all these coins are there. But I believe that Bitcoin and the Ether are the best coins. Why? Because Bitcoin has has a limited supply. And if something is happening, having a limited supply, the value of that thing will also rise. And why Ethereum, though it does not have a limited supply, but all the cryptocurrencies and other networks are being developed on the blockchain network of Ethereum only. Okay. Then, though like people are also talking about a platform called Avalanche as an alternative to Ethereum. So let's see like what exactly it happens. But like both of these will be used extensively. Now again, you might have heard about a large number of attacks on the cryptocurrency network. Okay, like a large number of attacks are there on the cryptocurrency network. Like the coins get stolen, the whole wallet gets stolen, and like people are tampering the chain, and cyber attackers or like crypto hackers are coming in between, and that is creating a problem. Okay, so that is basically happening. So what this basically means, like you have a large number of attacks called the race attack, your Finney attack, eclipse attack, Sybil attack, routing attack, parity multisig, 51% attack. So all these attacks are present there. Okay, so when you talk about the race attack, so race attacks, see, all these attacks are like one and the same thing, starting from race attack, Finney, eclipse, Sybil routing, parity multisig, and 51% attack. So all these attacks might have some different intricacies and differences between the two deep internally, but we are here not to confuse you. So as for now, all these terms mean like one and the same thing. That is the cryptocurrency network have been hampered. So what basically happens in these, I will just explain you with a short example. And all the other attacks are an improved version over the previous one. So what basically happens, just assume he is the buyer and he is the seller. So what this person would do, like he would be like giving the crypto coins, and this person in return would be like giving some commodities, or like selling the crypto coins in return. Okay, so what basically happens, this person and this person, they tend to be the same person. And once they are tend to being the same person, they're buying and selling the cryptocurrencies once again, and it's going to be a vicious cycle. And in the real life, apart from these two people, there can be hundreds and thousands of people, and that can inflate the price of the cryptocurrencies. In the stock market, we also tend to call it as something called a daisy chain is being created. We also call it as a jitney. We also call it as cornering, right? So all these things are being like going upon in the market. Okay. So these things are like going upon. Okay. So sometimes like this and this person is the same person. In some scenario, these two persons can also be different persons, but they indulge into this task of like uh, again and again, like buying and selling. Okay. Now there can be the other scenario as well. I'll just erase it. Yeah. Hmm. Now the money has to be sent to this person only. But what this person will do, like he will send money to both the person, and this person's account would be invalid. Okay. So what basically happens, the money would be like returned from this account to his account. But he has sent money just once. And the transaction has been showed that he has sent to both of them. So like this person would be happy, like he got the money. Matlab 200 rupees ka, like this person A had to pay like 200 rupees to B. And this is a dummy account, which is invalid. Now the 200 rupees, the single 200 rupees, not each. Total 200 rupees has been sent to B also, and 200 rupees has been sent to C also. Okay, and this 200 rupees एक ही बारी में मतलब कि दोनों के पास गए हैं, and this is not 400 rupees, 200 rupees. But something is done on the chain network कि लगता है कि 200 रुपए अलग अलग बारी गए, मतलब 400 रुपए गए हैं, but in reality 200 ही गए होते हैं. Now this person is happy, like he got the money and he's happy with it, he's smiling. Okay, but now this is a dummy account, a fake account, or not a fake account, an invalid account. तो यहाँ पे तो क्रिप्टो जाएगा ही नहीं, ठीक है, बिकॉज यहाँ पे कोई यूजर ही नहीं है. So like this money will come back to this person and he got his 200 rupees back. तो ये तो बात यही होगी, मतलब कि फेक करेंसी प्रिंट हो गई, फेक डिजिटल करेंसी जो ट्वाइस चली गई. Okay, so these things also happen. The other types of things that happen are blocks हैं. Yeah, some external parties are coming into place and they're genuinely hampering the transactions, deliberately hampering the chain. You might have heard about cyber attackers or like the crypto stealers or crypto thefts going on. So external parties, they try to find the loopholes like within this network. And once they find the loopholes within this network, they try to steal your cryptos or any of the thing that is being played or like done with you, done by you. Okay. So that is one thing that you need to take into consideration. Okay. Ab, this is done, this is done. So this is kind of attack. So once we go back to the PPT, so see, these things are being done, like whether in case of your race attack, your Finny attack, your Eclipse attack, your Sybil attack, your routing attack, your parity multisig attack, your 51% attack, in which more than 50% of the chain has been hampered, hacked by someone. Okay, and then like people claim that the blockchain network it cannot be penetrated and people cannot do it. See, basically like what happens once the system gets done and once everything is online and once everyone is using the web 3.0 and IT is on a boom. In the initial stage, the people might find difficulty to hack these systems or get into these systems or take over these systems. But once this system evolves and everyone starts to use this system, even the hackers and the people who want to disrupt this network, they also learn how to do it. Okay. And there are people called someone called the black hat hackers. The black hat hackers are something which do it for the unethical concerns. That is, they want to steal money from the people. Black hat hackers. Okay. And the second one you have is a white hat hacker. So these are those people who genuinely steal the crypto and they like return it back to the network and they just want to show people that the system is not secure and there are some loopholes. So basically, they're just telling people how did they stole that, and what were the loopholes into that with which they were able to steal that. Okay, so that happens in the case of a white hat hackers. Somewhere in between, you have a gray hat hacker. So gray hat hackers का यहाँ पे कोई role नहीं है because like he includes the aspect of both of these. Okay, a white hat hacker and a black hat hacker. ठीक है. Yeah. So see like what basically is happening. The tweets of people they tend to make the crypto market high or low. Okay, so basically, what really happens if someone says that they're using the cryptocurrencies for their operations or accepting the cryptocurrencies for their operations, it might indicate a positive signal. That is, people have started to accept the operations. Okay, people have started to accept the bitcoins for the operation, the cryptocurrency basically, and people are working on that. So basically, इसका मतलब क्या हो गया? The demand for the cryptocurrency has increased. And once the demand for the cryptocurrency increases, the price of the cryptocurrency will also rise. The same principle as we learned in the financial stock market. Once the demand for the shares is high, the price of the shares also rises. Similarly, once the demand for the cryptocurrency is also very high, the price of the cryptocurrency will also rise because now people know that big companies like, for example, Tesla, Amazon are accepting the cryptocurrencies for the payment mechanism. So then people would be exchanging the cryptocurrencies. Like for money, like they would be exchanging the cryptocurrencies, and that we call it as an on-ramp transaction. अगर तुम पैसे को अपना तुम क्रिप्टो करेंसी में कन्वर्ट कर रहे हो इट्स एन ऑन रैम्प ट्रांजैक्शन and if you are converting your cryptocurrency, I'll just write it, if you are converting your money to crypto, it's called an on ramp transaction. If you are converting your crypto to money, we call it as an off ramp transaction. Okay, yeah, so coming back, so basically the tweets of Mr. Elon Musk is very popular in that case. He said that people are crazy out of there and they are like accepting the Dogecoin and they also call it as this and this. So what basically happens, the price of the cryptocurrency rose in that scenario. And when on the other day he said that they are like not accepting the cryptocurrencies because they cause damage to air pollution because ultimately your environmental concerns are also there. Because when these cryptocurrencies are mined on the blockchain network, huge computing power is required and that release inefficient or harmful energy into the atmosphere and that can create problem. But now they say that they've started to use like green energy towards all of this and like green energy is being used and it won't create problems and then people start to buy it once again. So ultimately it's a pure game of demand and supply as we do in the case of the shares of the company as well on the stock market. But the one thing that is different is in case of the stock market, we know that which company is strong and which companies cannot, and what are the future projections of that company on the basis of the fundamental analysis. But in the cryptocurrencies, you cannot do that because suddenly, like one tweet comes or like one more use of the crypto comes, the people start to buy the crypto, the market rises, and at some part of time it falls. Okay, that is why crypto is something like which is being done into that scenario. So one thing, see, like when we talk about your technical analysis, in case of crypto, agreed, you cannot do the fundamental analysis in case of crypto. because ultimately these are not the company. These are just some digital assets or a token like, which is being traded on the crypto exchanges. Okay, but you can do technical analysis for these things because like when we do the technical analysis, I'll just show you one chart. We have a platform like when you go to trading view for shares. Yeah, so like the same thing as we do for shares, now we are trying to predict it on the basis of certain indicators. Yeah, see, this thing is happening. The same thing can be done for your cryptocurrencies as well. Like if you type here Bitcoin, the Bitcoin graph is here. Okay, and from these indicators you can get to know like currently it is at how much level. The value is coming up in here, and earlier the value was this. So with this data you are trying to predict it. Okay, and this can be done on the basis of technical analysis. Now, which tools used to do to like basically predict the technical analysis and all those stuff? That is something for which we can have a separate session because ultimately for that you firstly need to have knowledge about the technical indicators of the stock market. And once you have knowledge about the technical indicators of the stock market, only after that you can do it for the crypto market. Okay, so that's all for today. And this was the session. Yeah, and I'll see you in the next session.